Today we're going to talk about a number of issues really important, including the damage that has been done to the world by gun control and what happened to people after gun control was passed by despotic rulers such as Charles Schumer. You've got despotic Democrats in America. You've got street rats on MSNBC who have no education whatsoever. They gave them a suit and a haircut, and they get up there and talk about gun control with fake righteous indignation without understanding what it leads to. 1929, the Soviet Union established gun control. What happened? Attention, MSNBC. From 1929 to 1953, 20 million dissidents were rounded up and exterminated. 1911, Turkey established gun control. What happened? From 1915 to 1917, 1.5 million Armenians were rounded up and exterminated. They had no guns. Germany established gun control in 1938. From 39 to 45, 13 million Jews and others were rounded up and exterminated. They had no guns. China, gun control, 1935. From 48 to 52, 20 million political dissidents without guns were rounded up and exterminated in China. Guatemala established gun control in 1964. What happened? Attention, Gerald Nadler. From 64 to 80 to 81, 100,000 Mayan Indians were rounded up and exterminated. They had only bows and arrows, no guns. Attention, Charles Schumer. Uganda established gun control in 1970. From 71 to 79, 300,000 Christians were rounded up and exterminated in Uganda. Cambodia, Pol Pot establishes gun control in 1956. From 75 to 97, no guns, 1 million educated people, anyone with eyeglasses, were rounded up and exterminated. 56 million people rounded up and exterminated in the 20th century directly as a result of their inability to defend themselves against despotic governments. So you say, well, okay, that was there, but Charles Schumer, Turbin Durbin, Gerald Nadler, Harry Reid, Barbara Boxer, Dianne Feinstein, Barack Obama, they're not like Pol Pot. They're not like Joseph Stalin. They're good people. They're modern people. They're Democrats. They wouldn't round anybody up and exterminate them.
Okay guys, what we have here is the MEC 600 Junior. Picked one of this, actually two of these up the other day. This 12 gauge and the 20 gauge as well. I was new to shot shell reloading. Have reloaded metallic cartridges for several years. And was surprised at how easy and how quick it was to pick up on shot shell loading. I did run into a few problems. Wasn't a whole lot of help because they were simple problems for those people that are unfamiliar with shot shell loading. So what I wanted to do was go through the basics of this MEC 600 Junior and also some basics on shot shell reloading in general. In order to reload, I mean, obviously you have to have your empty hull. You will have to have primers. You'll have to have wads. You'll have to have powder. You will have to have shot. Keep in mind also that if you're doing buckshot or slugs, there's no auto feed for that. That stuff has to be manually loaded when you come to that step. Manually put into the hull. A couple of things about the MEC and the way it works. You have a charge bar here and you have a bushing right here, a powder bushing. This charge bar has two holes. Example, here's one that's pulled out. See the two holes? And actually if you go to this side, there we go. This is the screw right here that locks it and keeps it straight when it slides. Here's where your bushing will fit in, your powder bushing. Charge will come down this hole, powder will come down this hole. You're gonna have to, if you pick up one of these used, you can get the bushing guide off of the internet. It's downloadable many different places. These bushings have a number, and according to that number and the type of powder you use, each bushing delivers a specific charge. Now, I always recommend on your very first load to dump that charge once it's dispensed, weigh it, make sure it's right, and every few rounds it's a good idea to do that as well. The actual charge bar itself drops the shot, and you can see how come you can't do buckshot or slugs or something of that nature, something big like that. The numbers on the end are what is going to designate your shot. This number, you'll notice it's 302. I don't know if you can see that. Below that is a 114. And what that designates, the 302 is a designation that is for a single stage press, which that's what this is. The 1 1/4 designates 1 1/4 ounce of shot. So what we're going to do is now go over the features of the press, show you the different components in there. This piece here, ignore it for the time being. I'll kind of show you how it works later on when we go through the complete cycle. But this is more or less a homemade apparatus for quicker priming. What you've got back here is you've got the apparatus that sizes and deprimes your hull, and you'll slide that up on there, lever down all the way, jump up with it. Notice down here we have our old primer out. We'll then pull this off. Notice it deprime. We'll grab us a primer, drop it obviously to where it's going to seat this way, so the primer needs to be facing up. We're going to run it over this apparatus. It doesn't take much pressure to prime these. That's pretty much it right there, and you'll notice it's primed. The next station is really important, and I had a little bit of issues here because of how you work it. This is the station in which you both charge the hole with powder, then you're going to drop the wad in, then you're going to place the shot. And I got this a little weird, didn't have it quite set up correctly here. Important that your shot's on the left, your powder's on the right, obviously, that way you line up with the correct bushings we talked about earlier. To load the powder, you're going to pull the handle down. You're going to slap this charge bar, and sometimes it takes some force if you bought an older press like this. You're going to slap it from the left to the right, and what that has done is that's allowed the charge that was in this bushing to drop down this tube into the whole casing. It's going to come up. Notice this part's up, and then you've got a space here. There's a reason for that, and it's time to put the wad in. You want to make sure that the cup of the wad is facing down. This is the part of the wad where your shot will go in. It'll keep it secure until it leaves the barrel of your shotgun. Also, these wads are a little old. They had a little age on them. So you want to test and make sure that everything is good and pliable. If you bend a little bit and these break off, you may want to get some more wads. Anyway, it's going to go in just like this. You're going to slide it up on this little turret. At the same time, you're going to kind of guide it in, put that down. With this lever held down, you now slap the charge bar back from the left to the right. That just allowed the shot to come down the tube and load. And if I show you here, it will be loaded with both shot and powder now. Last two stations, your crimping station. The first station, when you come down, it's going to just slightly crimp, more or less start the crimp. That way it's not all done in one step. I don't know the exact purpose of it, but you'll notice that it's just started. The second step requires a little more pressure, and it will actually seal off the casing at this point. Notice we have a nice fully loaded 2 3/4, 1 1/8 ounce number 9 here. Again, just to go through the motions, to go through a little quicker this time, show you exactly what can be done with this thing.
It's time once again for Flying with the Family. Shoes on, arms up, and empty your pocket. After all this fuss, it'd be nice to get something ready by window. Exactly what you get. This extra is like a hot breakfast, free fitness.
And there's another one, and as you can see, that didn't take any long. And I was trying to stay out of the line of sight, so it was a little bit difficult. I didn't have the leverage that I would normally have if I was loading. Show you how my little contraption here works right quick before we leave you. D-prime. That right there, they'll drop down the tube. This lever will grab one. It should have pulled it over, and it did. Come up, go over, down.
Hey you, yeah you, need money? WeFixMoney.com might be able to get you extra cash fast. Maybe your checking account is low or the bank would do.
Notice how I have to really get on that sometimes. But again, I'm doing this from an angle which is really kind of making it difficult because my leverage is not right. And that's pretty much the workings. Like I said, very simple. You can see I knocked out 3 rounds there just in a few minutes. You can conceivably do a box of shells, assuming you have all your supplies ready. Goodness, in probably 5 minutes or less on the little single stage. So you can pick these up. They're brand new for somewhere around 150, 175 bucks. Used, I've had buddies that's picked them up for as little as 40, 50, 60 bucks. Excellent investment. Check out the price on wads and shot primers, that sort of thing, and I think you'll realize that it's not only fun, but you do save a lot of money. If you guys have any questions or need any help with setup, anything of that nature, feel free to leave some comments. And if you've got any improvements, like the modifications I have here, things like that, I'd be interested in hearing those as well. That's it until next time. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you soon.